Hi, Don here from Upper Canada Specialty Hardware. Today I wanted to go over some things that are important that you should know when you're coming into the store and you're looking for passage or privacy or entry set hardware for your doors. So one of the things that happens when the customer comes to the store is they don't have all the right information or enough information for us to be able to order their hardware. And typically it has to do with backset and handing. And let me explain. Backset is the distance from the edge of the door to the center line of the lock. That determines the size of the latch. This is a latch. This is a 2 3/4 inch latch, and this is a 2 3/8 inch latch. And you can see the difference, and it's very important. Typically, a 2 3/8 inch latch is on a standard interior door, and a 2 3/4 would be on an entry or an exterior door. But not always. This could be on an interior door as well. Now, so it's important you have that. That's called the backset. The other important thing to know is the thickness of the door. Typically 1 3/4, but it could be 1 3/8, not normally, but 1 3/4 is a pretty standard thickness. But if it's thicker, it could be 2 1/4. The important thing there is that we know that in case there's special screws required to fasten the hardware together. If the door's thicker and we didn't know the thickness, your screws might not match and you might not be able to install the hardware properly. The other thing to know is if you're getting a deadbolt and an entry set is the distance between the latch and the deadbolt. Now, typically, this is about 5.5 inches, but if you're doing it in a door that has already been prepped, we need to know that in case it's not the standard. So you would have to drill a different hole, or we would make sure that we give you a separate deadbolt and latch, whereas this is on one escutcheon. We would provide it on 2, where the deadbolt is separate, and then you can make it match accordingly. Another important thing to be aware of is the handing of the door, especially when you have a lever. This lever is for a door that's a right-handed door because it's pointing towards the hinges. So the hinges always determine the handing of the door. So if you're always on the outside of the door looking into the room and the hinges are on the left and the door goes into the room, then that's a left-hand door. If you open the door this way and the hinges are on your right and you're going into the room, that's a right-hand door. But just to make it a little more confusing, if you have the hinges on the left, but the door comes towards you, that's called a left-hand reverse. So if it's a right hand, it comes toward you, that's a right-hand reverse. And those are important things to know too, because typically, if it is reversed like that, then the tongue on the latch needs to be rotated so that it obviously comes and latches the door in the right direction. But otherwise, it's the most important thing is it a left-hand door or a right-hand door, and which way does the door operate, in or out? Another important thing to remember about handing is that if you have a lever, in this case a right-hand lever, and you just determined, oops, it's actually a left-hand door, some manufacturers have it that you can actually reverse the handing on the job site. Others, not so much. It requires special tools and has to be taken apart and flipped. And in other cases, it just can't be done. So that's why it's important to know the handing of the door. Finally, and quite importantly, is the door prepped for a tubular system or a mortise system? So what's the difference? I can get into that in a different episode, but right now, just look at the edge of your door, and do you see the 2 small faceplate covers, or do you see one large plate cover like that? That's a mortise lock, and this is a tubular system. And that's important because there's a price difference and there's a functionality difference. And the door prep for this is trickier, and it has to be done by professionals. This is a little easier to do with a 2 1/8 inch drill hole saw to install. But so that's the important thing to know as well. So those are the key things to remember when you're coming to the store with information, or call in advance and we'll email you one of these forms, and it has all the questions on here that I've just reviewed. Thank you.